Alright, so E3 came out probably a long time ago after this video is posted. But regardless, Nintendo did their whole song and dance, which of course was more Smash Brothers news. Which, it makes sense, it's their big new release that's coming out. What kind of surprised me was they introduced even more characters that are going to be in the game, which, like, I thought they already blew their load with Mega Man, the Villager, etc. And, you know, I kind of get excited when they're like, oh, you know, there's going to be new fighters, you know, there's a new cinematic or something introducing a new fighter. And so it's like, you know, who could it be? You know, I'm so excited. Maybe it's all these characters in my mind who, you know, could so easily be in these games. And then I'm disappointed. Kinda, sorta. You know, like, I've come to expect it, I guess. Like, PACMAN, you know? Like, okay, that's kinda cool, I guess. Like, whatever. It works, I suppose. They even play it off as this whole thing where, you know, the old school video game heroes, you know, are coming together in this game. You have Mario, you have Mega Man, you know, you have Pac-Man, you know, all these old classic characters are going to be in this game kind of thing. Even Mr. Game & Watch apparently is going to make another appearance according to this teaser trailer. There's also more Pokemon, which I think was actually announced before E3. And some of them don't even, there wasn't a lot of pomp and circumstance for them, but like Lucario. I have no idea who the hell Lucario is, but he's in there. Like, the official website has him in the roster, so go him. He basically looks like a human, but, you know, like a Fox McCloud kind of human biped Pokemon, which go figure. I'm pretty sure even Pikachu now just walks on 2 legs. He doesn't even go crawling on 4. Charizard. They had a whole big video where they introduced Charizard as just his own. Like, they finally took out, who did the Pokemon trainer have? It might have been Ivysaur and Squirtle? I'm not sure, but he had Charizard, and so they're basically like, okay, screw the other two, we're just gonna have Charizard in there, because that's what anybody ever wanted to play as, you know? It makes sense. But then they also have Greninja in there too. Again, don't know who he is. I think he's like the final evolved form of the new beginning Pokemon, like the first 3, you know, like Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Charmander, you know. This, like, there's a new 3, and he's like the evolved form of one of them. But, like, my problem is, like, Pokemon is just one of those franchises where there's so many characters. Like, how did they decide this? Like, why him over, say, the other 2's full evolved forms? You know, why not Blastoise instead of Charizard? Like, why Lucario? Who the hell is Lucario? I have no idea. So, I find that really interesting. Like, they're kind of just picking and choosing from this franchise, like, what people would want to play as. That maybe they have big followings, I don't know. I mean, considering that this game also has Pokeballs that you could throw around and more Pokemon show up, you know, it's like, you have Pokemon using Pokeballs. There's something wrong with that. I don't know. I'm not going to look too much into it. Oh yeah, and they also have Palutena. Placenta? She is apparently from the Kid Icarus game. I don't know. Like, I think she's just a character from the one new version of the game that came on 3DS, and basically that was it. Like, they had a new Kid Icarus game on the 3DS, and there you go. Like, that's the Kid Icarus you got, and I guess she was a character in it. And so now apparently she gets her own character in the game. Like, I think her specifically, she has a new following, like a big group following. Like, people apparently love her, but I haven't played the game, so I don't know the appeal.
Oh, I'm not here to save you, Pete.
She has green hair. That's cool. I don't want to come off as like a guy who doesn't know what he's talking about, or like is out of the loop of video games, because I am in the loop. It's just like, you know, I'm a guy who likes Nintendo, plays a lot of Nintendo games, new and old, and, you know, this is just my opinion of these new characters. This is just my perspective of this. You know, I played from NES to Wii U. I don't know who Palutena is, alright? Or even if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But speaking of characters with one-off game titles, and mainly the reason why I'm doing this video is because of this.
Great, keep it up. Let's get fired up. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Feel the burn. Let's tone up those legs. Now let's try it together. Ready for that?
Yes, a faceless yoga instructor from a fitness game. In a fighting game full of characters like Link, Samus, Fox, Kirby, but no, let's choose the Wii Fit trainer, because why not? Like, who would not want to play as her? Like, I'm baffled by this choice, because it's a fitness game. Like, she's from a fitness game, and this is a, you know, fighting game with cartoony violence, you know, foxes beating up on Pikachus, you know, kind of thing. But it's I don't know, it baffles me, and I feel like there's some sort of sex appeal involved in this. At least doing a quick Google search kind of confirms that, like, people are okay with this because of the way she looks, because she's a sex appeal, and it kind of bums me out. But I mean, it's sort of obvious. Like, you'd be an idiot not to realize we live in an age where you can sexualize anything and it'll sell. Even from Nintendo, who, you know, likes to be conservative with their female characters. Like, this is kind of their shameless attempt, you know, because when it's your first attempt at that, it's gonna be shameless. But I guess the real bummer of this whole revelation is that before she was in the game, the one person that everybody thought was more sexually appealing was probably Sonic. Yeah, people are weird. Oh man, speaking of sexualization of their characters and how conservative Nintendo used to be, I mean, there was always Zero Suit Samus, yes, and, you know, a woman in a tight suit, like, it's a thing. But now, they've done this thing where, like, Zelda and Sheik, instead of, you know, morphing into those characters in the middle of the fight, they're now their own characters, which is what they should have done in the first place, because what the hell, what if no one played Ocarina of Time before playing Smash Brothers and saw that? You know, spoilers. But they're also doing that with Samus, because apparently, I didn't play Brawl, but, or at least not that much, but apparently Samus would be in her suit and then can turn into her Zero Suit, but now they're doing it differently, where it's either Samus or Zero Suit Samus. But they kind of changed her a lot, but also they gave her hooker heels. Yeah, I mean, Nintendo tries to write it off as like, oh, they give her special jumping powers and stuff. No, they're hooker heels. I see where you're going with this, Nintendo, and you should be ashamed of yourself. But the main point of this video was, obviously, I'm sure it's going to be in the title somewhere, everybody else was doing one of these. I figured I would do one too, especially since I think Nintendo's done now with all the announcements of characters. So I'm just, you know, without being proven wrong by Nintendo, I'm going to give my own opinion of characters, 10 specific characters that I feel should be in this, deserve to be in this game more than the Wii Fit trainer. Amaterasu from Okami. Basically, bottom of the list because I haven't played Okami, so I feel like, you know, I can't really have much of a say in this, but I know the game has a huge cult following. It's like one of, you know, everybody's favorite game on GameCube. At least a lot of people I know who owned a GameCube own this game, are still playing it, you know, like re-playing it, which, you know, it's a good game when you have to come back to it again later and experience it all over again. So I feel like, you know, it's a Nintendo license, right? Like, the game only came out on GameCube, so why not put, you know, their main character into this fighting game? And it would really be a nice change of pace, because I'm pretty sure all characters in you know, all the new fighters in this game, like all the fighters in general in this game, are biped. You know, they walk on 2 legs, even all the Pokemon. Like, they've only picked ones that can walk on 2 legs. So it'd be a nice change of pace to have, you know, like a wolf character who's on all 4 legs, you know? That'd be kind of cool. The Eggplant Wizard from the original Kid Icarus game. The Eggplant Wizard. This sort of started off as a joke, because why not? You know, you have Palutena, and when I think Kid Icarus, I think the Eggplant Wizard. So, bring him on there too. Fuck it. But actually, I'm kind of becoming more and more serious about this choice because whenever I think the Eggplant Wizard or King Hippo, I think Captain N, the Game Master. And really, all the characters in Captain N should be in Super Smash Bros. Because that was back in the day, you know, when Nintendo was really picking up, or it had picked up for a long time because they made a cartoon series about it. But, you know, it was all their poster children. You know, these are all the characters that, you know, they could sell, they could advertise, you know, they can make into full-fleshed characters, kind of, sort of, not really.
I'm Simon Belmont, prima ballerina.
But we'll get to him in a minute. But you know, like again, like this was the face of Nintendo, all these characters. So yeah, Eggplant Wizard, why not? Jeff, Pooh, or Paula from Earthbound. Again, this is just my little dream, hope, perspective. It's not going to happen because Ness is gone too from the roster. Again, I'm looking on the official Super Smash Bros. Website, so if there's another one that says more, that's more credible than the official website, you know, let me know, but as I see right now, no Ness. So this wouldn't happen. Jeff, Pooh, and Paula are from the Earthbound game that Ness came from. They're the other 3 characters of the game. Basically, they'd just be interesting, you know, not like have all 3 of them in a group or include all 3 of them, but like just pick one, you know, of the group, because it would at least be a nice nod to the game, you know, to the fan base. Also, this is a bit of a cynical pick, because like any of them would make more sense than Lucas, who was in a Nintendo game that never saw the light of day in America, and yet they decided to put him in a Smash Brothers game. You know, like, the kids were going to be confused at first with Ness, but then you confuse them with a game that they couldn't just pick up and play at any minute now. You know, like, Earthbound's now on the Virtual Console. So why not, you know, why not keep building that up, Nintendo? Why not keep introducing people to this? You know, like, yes, you made your fans happy, but now, you know, incorporate everybody else, you know, be a business people about this. Like, fan service, introduce more people into the fan service. You know, it just makes sense. So, yeah, they finally made us all happy with putting the game on the Virtual Console, and then just figured, you know, we don't need Ness and Smash Brothers anymore now. We made all those nerds happy.
Come on, Reggie, give us Mother 3!
How about this instead?
Sir Arthur from Ghosts and Goblins. This one is really silly because he's already in a fighting game, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which I haven't played, but looking at screenshots of him in the game, like, look at him. He doesn't even look like he belongs there. Like, it's really silly. Like, just this short midget guy in a suit of armor, you know, with all these other hardcore buff fighters. You know, so it's weird that he's in that game. Put him in this game, where you could have a laser gun wielding fox fighting a blue hedgehog in sneakers. It almost makes too much sense, right? You know, and they already made him for a fighting game, so how hard would it be to incorporate that into this game? Though I do know that the styles of the games are very different. Marvel vs. Capcom. yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is a lot more fast-paced than this, but I mean, how hard could that be? Bomberman. I stole this from other people's top 10 lists because he showed up a lot, and I was starting to think about it. I was like, I could see that working. My first problem was, like, Link drops bombs, so how would he be different? But then I was like, how cool would it be? Like, I remember one of my favorite items in Smash Brothers is the proximity mine. You know, because at least when I played against computers, they always landed on it, you know? You could just throw it anywhere on the screen, step away, and just watch as they, like, land on it, explode, and you have a good laugh out of it. He could be that guy, you know, just placing proximity bombs. He could, like, do the thing he did in the 64 game where he holds up a bomb and, like, makes it bigger and bigger. You know, his smash could just blow up the entire screen. You know, I could see this being a thing. There's a lot of potential in that kind of character. And he's a beloved franchise. Maybe not so much Nintendo anymore, but Nintendo did have their grasp on him for a while. It seems like every game system's kind of had him exclusively. Because I remember he was on Xbox Arcade. I think there's a PlayStation game of his. The Nintendo 64 had him. I don't know. My brain hurts. The Lost Vikings. Yeah, I bet a lot of you are like, oh yeah, them. I think they're owned by Blizzard, though. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know the whole legality of all this, nor am I going to assume that these are plausible characters that Nintendo could put in, but it's just my own hope and dream. But the Lost Vikings, if you guys, for those of you not in the know, it was sort of a puzzle game where you controlled these 3 Vikings through a series of obstacles, and each Viking had their own strengths and weaknesses. You had Eric, who could run and jump. Olaf, who was this big Viking who had a shield, he could block things. Then you had Balog, Baluge. You got Blada Bleedablue, who could fight. He had like a sword and bow. So, like, at first, like, I'm thinking you could have him kind of be like the Pokemon trainer, who of course isn't in this now, so that could be the new Pokemon trainer where you kind of switch in and out of these 3 guys and they each have their own strengths. Or you could have them be like the Ice Climbers, again, not in the new roster according to the official website, what the hell, but it'd be like, you know, if you wanted to jump, it'd be Eric who jumped. If you wanted to block, it'd be Olaf. If you wanted to go on the offensive, it'd be Balaboo, you know, doing his thing. So, you know, it'd be one of those really unique characters where, like, you really had to master to be good at, which it seems like Smash Brothers doesn't have those kind of characters anymore. Like, it seems like they're more to, you know, strengths and weaknesses of players. You know, like, the Punch-Out guy is unique because his air stuff isn't as powerful, but that just means, like, if you don't jump a lot when you play the game, then play as the Punch-Out guy. Little Mac. You know, there's no, like a Snake from Brawl, you know, like, you really had to master Snake or else you got your ass kicked, at least for me. You know, I like fighting games that have those kind of characters where, like, if someone plays as them, either they're going to be really bad or they're going to kick your ass. So I look at the Lost Vikings characters, or at least characters where, you know, you have to consider a lot more, you know, than just controlling one person. Actually, Rosalina is sort of like that, because you have the little star dude floating around her, so you have to pay attention to her and the star guy and kind of, you know, coordinate that way, you know, that sort of thing. That's what I think when I think of Lost Vikings in this game. King K. Rool. This is also on a lot of other people's lists, and for a good reason, because Smash Brothers always goes with this tradition throughout all the sequels where, you know, you'd have Mario, you know, as a character, and then, like, next game later, or I think he was in the original Smash, I'm not sure, but you'd have Mario, Bowser would be a playable character as well. You had Link, Ganondorf became a playable character, which, doing a quick check, might not be in this game. I didn't even consider that, huh? So Ganondorf might not even be in there. What the hell? But you know what I'm saying? Like, you have Kirby, and King Day is gonna be in the game. You know, that kind of thing. You have the hero, and then you add the antagonist as well as a playable villain. So why not give Donkey Kong his due and put his villain in there as well? You know, you even put a sidekick in the game, Diddy, who is going to be in the next one. So where's the villain? Where's King K. Rool? And King K. Rool works so well. You know, like, he has fighting moves. He was a boss in the game, in 2 of the games. I don't know if he was in the 3rd one, but you know, he threw his crown. He was a pirate at one point. He shot his blunderbuss, kind of thing. Like, there's a lot you could do with him. Simon Belmont. Speaking of Captain N, again, he was sort of, you know, the poster child for Nintendo. Like, Castlevania was one of the games people played on Nintendo a lot. It was a lot of people's favorite. So the bottom line with Simon Belmont really is, like, why isn't he in a fighting game in general? You know, I don't care if he's not in Super Smash Bros., but why isn't there a fighting game that involves him? You know, if Final Fantasy could include their characters into a fighting game, if freaking Star Wars could have their own fighting game, like, where's Simon Belmont in all this mess? You know, why hasn't his character been sold into a company to be used for that sort of thing? I mean, he has the bare essentials of being in a fighting game, you know, like, I don't even have to explain what his moves could be. He has a whip, he throws axes, he throws holy water, he sucks at climbing stairs. Like, what else do you need? Battletoads. Speaking of being tailor-made for fighting games, so many segues here. It's beautiful. It's all coming together. But speaking of which, whatever my point was, Battletoads. Again, tailor-made for a fighting game. Why hasn't there been a fighting game with them involved? They teamed up with Street Fighter. No, they didn't. They teamed up with Double Dragon. They teamed up with Double Dragon, which in and of itself should have been a fighter game. It kind of was a fighter game to begin with, just not a tournament setting. You know, again, like, moves are preset. You know, you got the ram head, you got the giant boot. You could bash guys into the ground and start kicking the crap out of them. You know, it'd be beautiful. And, like, you have characters like Rob from Brawl. You had Mr. Game & Watch. You know, really obscure Nintendo characters that a lot of people wouldn't get right off the bat. But then you have Battletoads. Like, everybody knows Battletoads now. You know, like, sure, because of the you know, from the advent of the internet, like, Rob has kind of become more of a personality. People are now, you know, could recognize Rob more even if they'd never picked it up. But, like, Battletoads are the same way. You know, it's now regarded as, like, a hard as balls video game. So a lot of people know of it. So why not put them in? It would make more sense than Game & Watch. It would make more sense than Rob. Because, you know, there's more people who are knowledgeable of it now. At least it seems to me. Geno was a character from Super Mario RPG, joined your party, fought with you. He was a doll that was turned to life from power of love or some child's wish. I don't remember exactly the plot for that. But he was like the defender of the Star Road or something, and was able to shoot stuff from his hands. His arms were guns. He could control stars. One of his special moves was raining stars down on his enemies. And he looked like this. He was really mysterious. And he's never been seen since Super Mario RPG. Alright? So, where's the Geno love? You know? Like, not just Smash Brothers, but any Mario game in general. Like, really, bring him back. Like, what the hell? Like, even Mallow. Like, I would love to see Mallow come back. You know, he is another character that was made up for the game and then never seen again. I'm like, why? You know? Like, you have this franchise, Nintendo, you have all these characters, and instead of making up more, like Rosalina, just bring back Geno, bring back Mallow, you know? Like, it bugs me that he seems to be forgotten, but I did find one list. I found one other Smash Brothers list where he was in there, and kudos to you, sir. We're on the same page here. Geno needs to come back. And that's all I have to say about my #1 pick. Damn it. My case in point, though, and this falls into Geno too, because, you know, he's kind of a fighter to begin with. You know, you couldn't really... I could see him not being in, like, the Super Mario Brothers Wii U, because you can't really see him running around jumping on things. You know, he shot stuff from his arms. That would be kind of weird. But, you know, so fighting game. You know, all these characters I'm listing are tailor-made for fighting games, you know. That's what they do in the games they're in. You know, like, even if, like, let's take Captain Falcon for example. Like, you don't have these characters that I mentioned in here, but you have Captain Falcon, you know, who, what game was he in? A racing game. And yet you make him this lovable fighter, you know. People love him for how off the wall and ridiculous he is. And I just realized, also not in the list. Are they taking out Captain Falcon? Nah. No. This couldn't be the full list. Oh my god. No Captain Falcon. Okay guys, false alarm. It turns out, obviously this is a little bit later, because, you know, I take forever editing these goddamn videos. But, they came out with a new video to announce new characters, but also they apparently felt they needed to put Captain Falcon in the video too as a release. You know, it's like, oh, we're having Captain Falcon, it's official. I don't know why they felt the need to leave it till, you know, the very last minute to say, oh, by the way, yeah, Captain Falcon. You know, isn't that awesome? Like, who didn't see that coming? Yeah, the video also announces 2 new characters from the Fire Emblem series, which I'll give them credit. Like, with Roy and Marth, who have always been in the Smash Brothers games, Fire Emblem is a very well-known Nintendo series. It's not that obscure, at least not to me, because I've actually played the games. I played the new game, which is where the 2 new characters come from. Lucina and Robin, which is really weird because apparently Robin is just the generic name they give for the main character of the new Fire Emblem game, which is you're supposed to name yourself. Like, he's a nameless person, you name him. And apparently they decided to just go with the name Robin. I just called him Happy. I'm getting off topic here. But anyway, if they could take Captain Falcon out of his racing car, make him a fighter, make him a lovable fighter, why not take these characters that are already fighters to begin with from the games they've starred in? And again, I'll go back to Wii Fit Trainer. Like, a yoga instructor. Isn't yoga sort of a pacifist thing? Like, isn't yoga not meant for fighting? You know? And yet, here we are. It looks unnatural. Every little shot I see of the Wii Fit Trainer fighting, it just looks weird. Like, why would she fight? You know? It's kind of creepy almost. You know, faceless and hot, tight pants. So to wrap up this whole top 10 thing, and also the whole, you know, the usual disclaimer, like, this is my opinion. Some of these characters might even fall into the woodwork at one point, so, like, don't come back to this video, you know, 3 months later and be like, oh, well, they added this character already. Why did you put them in your top 10, you know? This is just my opinion, and, like, I even done my research for this top 10 because I kind of ran out of ideas after, like, the first 4 and had to see what other people were saying, and kind of, like, thinking in my mind, yeah, I could see that being cool. They also mentioned in E3 that Mii fighters are now available. And the funny thing with that, with the whole E3 announcement of where you can, you know, make a Mii, and have them be a fighter or use your own Mii as a fighter, they kept using the phrase, now anybody can join the battle. Bullshit. Or else there wouldn't be all these lists of characters that should be in your game. So I thought that was funny. But with everything said and done, I'm happy with what they're choosing. You know, I'm gonna be excited to play these characters, see what they can do. You know, maybe I'll kick ass as the Wii Fit trainer. Who knows? Maybe I'll make it through the MLG circuits as the Wii Fit trainer. But as long as they don't take out Link inexplicably in these games, I'll be happy. And as long as there's a Kirby, I will be sad. Because for some weird reason, every time I fight someone who plays as Kirby, they always kick my ass.